Hello and welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to take a look at some issues with her movement and we're going to fix a couple things. One is you'll notice that when she stops moving abruptly. And so she'll be playing these jog stop animations. And these jog stop animations are kind of designed for her to skid to a halt. So if she just stops abruptly and then her feet are doing this little dance in place, it looks kind of funny. So we're going to make sure that we set her to sort of skid to a halt so that those jog stop animations look correct. And a second issue is if you've played around with movement enough, you'll notice some jerky movements, particularly if you move left and right rapidly. You'll notice we get this kind of jerking around of her mesh, and that's not ideal. So we're going to fix a couple of these issues now. So let's fix this jerkiness because this can be really annoying and you don't really want her to be jerking around like this. So let's take a look at her blend space. So here's the jog start blend space. And you'll notice here in the axis settings, under horizontal axis, we have this interpolation time. It says interpolation time for input. When it gets input, it will use this time to interpolate to target, used for smoother interpolation. Now, if we give this a value other than 0, say 2, then she will smoothly interpolate to the animation and so it won't be so jerky. So let's give this a value of 2 here in jog start blend space and let's save this, and then let's also go to the jog stop blend space and give this interpolation time a value of 2 as well. And now if we go ahead and start to move rapidly left and right, you'll see that rather than jerking straight to the animation, she sort of smoothly transitions to it. And so that way we won't have this sort of jerky motion. Now you can tweak this value if you don't like how slowly she interpolates. You can set this to a value of say 1. So if we set this to a value of 1 in both of her blend spaces, then you'll see that, well, it's a little bit faster, and so she doesn't quite jump to the animation so quickly, but it's not so slow either. So we can always go in there and change those interpolation values. But now if we move rapidly from left to right, she's not going to jerk like she's teleporting. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is let's give her some braking deceleration. So if we're moving to the left and we stop, we'd like her to sort of skid to a stop so that those braking animations, those jog stop animations, look like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So if we go to Shooter Character BP and click on Character Movement, this is the character movement component, and it contains all sorts of things regarding movement. Now let's take a look at the character movement section here, and you'll see that we have max acceleration. This has to do with how fast she starts accelerating. So if you lower this value, for example, let's put it at a value of 500, then when we start moving, it takes her a little bit of time to ramp up to her movement. So you can see she has a little bit of inertia getting going. And so this has a default value of 1024, I believe it is, and that seems to be an okay value when she's starting to run. But you'll see down here in the walking section, we have this braking deceleration walking value, and we can lower this value. And I find if I lower it dramatically, say to a value of about 85 or so, then it takes her longer to skid to a halt. Now this works in conjunction with this ground friction factor here. Ground friction has to do with how she slides along the ground to skid to a halt. Now I can lower this value to say 2, and she has a lot less friction. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like when she stops running. So here she's running and then I'll stop. And now she's actually going to skid to a halt. So she keeps moving just a little bit as she's stopping. Now these are values that we can tweak. So those are some factors that you can play with when tweaking her movement. So take a look at these and you can adjust these to get this character behaving the way you want her to behave. So these are things that you're going to iterate over and tweak as you're developing your game. So that will conclude this video. Hopefully you've got your character moving a lot more smoothly and acting a lot less jerky. So that's going to take care of some of her movement capabilities. In the next video, we're going to work on zooming in when aiming. So you might have noticed that there's a couple of things that she's doing that your character isn't quite doing yet. She's aiming, she's lifting her weapon. So those are features we're going to do in the videos to come. So stay tuned.